Good evening, aficionados. Welcome to the Great Lakes Smoke Show. And we have an exciting show tonight. Special guest in the house, which we'll get to shortly. I just want to make sure you guys all know that I like to tell you is to get a paper and a pen so you can write down the dates and information that we give you. We get a lot of information each and every single podcast. And, I'll repeat as many as we can, but writing them down is always the best for you. It keeps you part of the show also, so there's always something to go back to. Welcome all you Facebook listeners. We can't thank you enough for making this show a success that you really have. Our listeners have been going through the roof, we like to say. It's smoking hot out there. And great part to a lot of wonderful guests here on the show that are keeping us going. And we just came off a nice remote when we had our very good friend Curve Gente coming here last Wednesday. He joined us at a Cuban Experience. And that, I think, was a 3-hour show we basically had.
It was
even
it was
4 maybe.
It wasn't quite that long, but
it was a lot.
we hit 2.5 hours on the live Facebook, but through podcast, we broke it up into two parts.
Yeah.
2 shows. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I implore everyone out there watching him. I mean, they sat through our whole show.
Yeah,
You guys are great.
Dustin's on. Simeon is on. Frank, cousin Frank, what's up, buddy? How are you?
What's up, Frank?
Kevin is on. Also, Teresa's on, and they're all checking in. All our regulars and some newbies. So thank you very much, everybody. The rest of you, I know you're going to catch on here in a second. We did run about 8 minutes late. I apologize, but we're always trying to get things together and make this show a little bit.
Well, we're never late. We're exactly when we're supposed to go on.
Yeah.
You gotta
when they turn it
understand
on, that's right. I know. It's
we're
the live.
You got to understand. We're
We're
podcast, so we go on when we're supposed to go on.
All right. So we're on. That's it. We're on. We're going to bring you some laughter tonight as much as we usually do, and maybe more. And we're going to have, I said, a special guest in the house that we'll be talking to shortly after we talk a little bit with Curve Gente from South Carolina. He had a trip going back. He'll get into that experience.
Yeah,
But,
I heard he almost had a trip like Frank leaving here.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean,
Yeah, it was almost like a cousin Frank trip, indeed.
we love you, Frank.
But we just want to introduce ourselves. As you know, my name is Ron Pecorini. My brother, Bob Pecorini. Our co-host, our brother, our friend, Kyle Gesso.
Hey, how you doing?
Special guest in the house, our brother, Luciano. How are you, sir? Acevedo
very
coming
good.
in for
Happy
a
to be
long
here.
drive, and we can't thank him enough for bringing us in the house. And a newbie, we have another Pecorini in the house. Michael Pecorini, Bob's son, coming in for his first time, checking things out. But yes,
Man, you Pecorinis are taking over everything.
We are.
you know, it's
We're
the
moving,
Italian in
man.
us.
It's a movement.
Well, like they said at
There's too many of
the
you.
Mason brother meeting last night, we are invading. We're turning this into an Italian blood deal.
There you go. Yes, we are.
Hey, when do I get my striped suit, and when I become a made man here? you
We
know?
talk about that off the air. Well, what do you mean, man? I don't know nothing you're talking about. No.
I just want to be a man.
Well, we'll make you a man very easily. Well, you have that Chicago Wolves shirt, so that's very
Hey.
good. And they are
on fire.
what's it? 1-1 or
We are
2-1?
1-1 coming home tomorrow night.
Yep.
And I've got tickets for Thursdays and Saturdays game. I'll be supporting my Wolves on Thursday night and Saturday. It's going to be a great time.
All right.
And for all
Nope.
for all you Chicago people out there, come on down, support a good minor league hockey team here. They're going for the cup. So
They are going for the cup, and that's it's a great hockey team. So we are enjoying ourselves. Ryan James, what's happening? Thanks for checking on. Mike Paratori, all the way from Queens, Astoria, New York. How are you, Kerr? Yes, I'll be calling you right now. Michael Burham, our DAV sales rep in the area, checking
What's
us
happening,
out.
Mike?
Let's see, what is Frank telling me? You can't leave the state of Illinois without travel headaches. The Bald Head Club. Well, Kyle's just covering his head. We'll make believe we'd be bald tonight. Yes, there's 4 outstanding bald men here that just will make the women excited overall. So anyway, I'm going to give Kerr a call, and we can talk about his wonderful trip home. But before we get into that, we definitely want to have a little review of the adventure that he had with us. And good evening, Mr. Kerr. How are you tonight,
Hey.
buddy? What's happening?
Good evening.
What's happening, man?
I'm doing wonderful, guys. How are you doing, Ronnie? And how's everybody else doing?
We're doing good, man.
Yep.
Did you just get home?
No, that was a marathon, but I did get home safely, and I did get home well before my plane would have arrived.
Unbelievable.
We'll get into that in a second about your adventure, which is definitely a hell of an adventure from what you told us. But I enjoyed following your road on Facebook. It was a good remote for you, talking about what was going on. But hey, it was great having you up here. The three of us truly enjoyed your company, and for what you did with us, and your cigars were spectacular. The barber pole was unbelievable. Your case is something to talk about, your box. And thanks for your time at the Cuban. And Luciano here is a part of the Cuban here. So tell him what you think of his fantastic place.
Well, first of all, thanks for having me up. I mean, when I arrived, you were like, hey, let's go out. We went out right away, had some cigars, and going up to the Cuban was just a great experience, being on the show, meeting everybody. But what a fantastic cigar shop. I do travel a great deal, and I've been to quite a few shops in my travels, and I could tell you that cigar shop, the humidor, I mentioned on your show, I always look for the Stogie Road 3, location, selection, and staff. Location gets you there, the selection gets you to buy, the staff gets you to stay and keep coming back. And the Cuban was a hat trick across the board. It was a Stogie Road hat trick. Great location, beautiful little town, great restaurant across the street.
Yes.
That was a plus.
Yeah, great food.
The humidor was just outstanding. I mean, what a great mixture of cigars, and just the structure is beautiful. The inside of the lounge, you could tell there's a lot of history there, but just very spacious and well laid out. It just didn't look like a hodgepodge of chairs anywhere. It had a flow to it, and the staff, which includes the individuals who go to the shop and who frequent it, very friendly, extremely nice, and it was just a great time all around.
So I guess you'd come back, right?
Most definitely.
Well, we were
I
honored to
definitely
have
would
you
come
there.
back. I'll tell you, I spoke to a few people, as Ronnie had mentioned, and I appreciate the compliments on the barber pole.
Yeah, very good.
That's a humidor that I would be honored to have my cigar in that humidor. It's beautiful, incredible.
Well, we're going to give some sample. Well, you gave some samples out. You left them there. I don't know if Luciano had a chance, but let me
I
see.
tried them today.
Oh, you did?
Yes,
Oh,
amazing.
okay. So here you
Nice.
go.
Very good. Thank you very
Talk
much.
off air about
There
it,
you
I
go.
guess, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
But yeah, what a great place. I mean, we have it reminded me of a place here in Greer, South Carolina, named Cameroon. It's a very similar layout, but your shop is twice as large. It has the same look, the same feel, and I gotta tell you, when I get back into town, I'll definitely be coming back.
Well, you
Right to
mentioned
hear.
that you talked to Dr. Gabby Caffey, that he was interested in maybe coming up this way to possibly, if a Cuban will have you, to do an event with Dr. Caffey
Definitely.
with you guys. And I know that, Bob and I have smoked a lot of cigars, and yours and Dr. Caffey's was, 9 out of 9, a home run, each and every single one on his line, besides his great coffee. He's got to bring the
Yeah.
coffee up, that's for
Yeah,
sure.
bring some coffee.
It was tremendous. And no, it was great having you. We can't thank you enough. We look forward to the next venture
It's a good time.
with you. And I saw you made your way down to Erwin Reese and some of the others.
Yes.
Oh, was that
Yeah,
worth
you
it or
guys
what?
really gave me some good advice. You gave me some good advice on some places to stop, and that was the one place I definitely wanted to stop at. And it was a very surreal moment because I was sitting in the lounge smoking in the oldest cigar shop in America.
Mm-hmm.
And I was smoking the David P. Ehrlich by MLB Ventures. Mike Bellotti makes that cigar. And he named it after the second oldest cigar shop in the U.S. that was in Boston that closed down.
No. Okay.
So, I'm sitting there smoking a cigar named after the second oldest cigar shop in the oldest cigar shop in America. And it was pretty cool.
Wow.
Well, I'm glad you like it.
Nice place, though. Did you get to talk with Chuck at all, or was he there?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I got it real. Yeah, I mean, and it's funny is it's amazing about the cigar community and the shops is when you go into a shop like that, you'd figure you'd be a little intimidated. Gosh, fifth generation, oldest cigar shop, nicest guy, nicest people working there, friendliest people. It was really enjoyable.
Yeah, I'm glad.
Yeah,
you
Chuck
made it
has
there.
a great place down there. He's an encyclopedia of the area of knowledge, and he does a fantastic job with the Chicago Pipe Club at the Chicago show. He actually donates the wonderful tent out there for us. It's 6,000 square feet. Just
Wow.
a fantastic
Cool.
guy,
Yeah.
a wonderful man
Yeah,
in
great-
general, a
great
human
guy.
being, and he knows what's going on. Where's some of the other stops? Mr. Biggs, how do you like that?
I've been to Mr. Biggs before. That's always a good time. Get just how the beautiful location, sitting outside, relaxing. Smoking an Opus X. It was. I always make sure that I stop by Mr. Biggs.
Did you
And then I had to do some other work, and then when I hit the road.
Oh,
I
so
hit
you
the
didn't
road
get to
and-
Arlington, did you?
No, he
No,
wasn't.
I didn't get a chance
Oh,
to.
that's too bad. Okay.
Yeah,
Next
I mean,
time.
it was like, I tried. I mean, I stopped up at Cigari. I always stop up there, and I know the folks. But I didn't get to Arlington. But my flight got canceled, so to rent a car one way is cheaper than getting a room because
Wow.
there was so much stuff going on. And I took off, and I got to tell you one thing. I'd never been through Indiana before. That is the flattest state I think
Yes.
I've ever been.
No,
yeah.
Nebraska.
Nebraska.
Nebraska, man. Wow.
There-
I'll
well,
tell you what, you can't.
that's
If it was
torture.
any flatter, it would be below sea level.
Yeah.
But I mean,
I-
all the
I-
different.
I understand Kerr's
windmill.
pain there because I've traveled Indiana from top all the way to Kentucky. Yeah, you're not missing much.
No, no.
Beautiful. I mean, beautiful. I mean, listen, I'm from Pennsylvania originally, and there's a lot of farm country, so the air is very beautiful. It's very Americana, when you see the farms and everything, but flat as can be. I did get into Kentucky, and I did stop at a cigar shop along the way in Kentucky, and it was a really great place. It was ideal for me with traveling because it's right off the highway. It was actually 2 minutes off the highway.
Oh.
It was called the Executive Cigar, and I met Curtis Critchfield, who's the manager, and it was a small little shop in, like one of those little strip mall things of about 4 different businesses, and just it was a nice little place, but it had a great humidor. It was about 80% boutique
Wow.
in the humidor.
Okay.
So I was like a kid in a candy store, and one of the nicest guy. It was an enjoyable stop. I didn't get a chance to stop in too many places on the way home just because weather was looking a little shady, and I wanted to get home before 4:00 in the morning. I did stop in a small place in Indiana, right by Purdue University. it was a nice little place, but it was about a good 10 minutes off the highway. Nice little location in town, but the humidor is very bare. I mean, it looked like it was about 40% filled.
That's not a good
and
sign.
no, and most of them were just kind of bundles and some no names here and there. But I grabbed a couple of cigars. I always make sure that whenever I stop at a place, I always buy something to support the local tobacconist and the local brick and mortar. But I'm sure in that area, there's 5 or 6 people sitting in a very small lounge hanging out smoking. So that was pretty cool to see. But it was the Executive Cigar. That was a really great place. It was in Simpsonville, Kentucky.
Oh, okay.
Never
There.
heard of it.
Yeah.
That's all right.
You're traveling
That's good.
south. That's a good place to stop at then.
Nice, nice. Well, it all started off at Manny's Cigar Lounge in Highwood, and it took you to the Cuban, and you did the downtown Chicago gig, and on your way home. So I'm glad that you made it home, and good stuff. Anything new that's coming up for this weekend on your behalf?
I am taking a few days off at the end of the week. The kids are finishing up school, so got to button that up and then sign up some of the kids for high school, middle school, and just some family time.
Good. So you're not doing your
school's been
podcast
crazy
this
with
week?
being away. But that's really about it. Nothing too crazy. There's a local shop around here, FH Cigars and Travelers Rest. They're doing a Father's Day special. I'm gonna probably stop down and check out those guys. They're really nice little story. It's a small town. They're local boys, and they open up a cigar shop, and it's doing quite well.
Good.
But other than that, just family time.
Well, it's about time. You
Good.
need it. You've been on the road for a little bit there, so you got to do that every now and then. But Kerr, I can't thank you enough. We'll have to get an order in anyway for your box.
Yeah.
Kyle wants a box too, so we might have to put an order in just so that he gets one. But folks,
get in touch, man. I'd be love to. I see Chris Haskell's on. He's a buddy of mine, and Dustin App. Dustin App's a great guy. He actually owns Gen F Cigars, small boutique. I'm just looking at a couple of people who are hopping on that I know.
And where are they
you
located?
got Dustin App.
Yeah, Dustin's a great guy. I've had him on the show and interviewed him. One of the nicest guys you want to meet. Very, very humble, down to earth guy. Chris Haskell. They have the East Coast Cigar Club. I belong to that group, and they're a great group. They're a great bunch of guys too.
Where are they located?
I'm sorry.
Where are they located?
On the East Coast.
I know that.
Yeah, Dustin's in New York.
Oh, okay.
And I'm sure Chris Haskell will kill me because I want to say I think Haskell's in Ohio. I won't hold that against Haskell. He's a really good guy.
I believe it.
But I won't hold it against him. He's from Ohio. I like to joke the Ohio people. I'm a Michigan Wolverine fan, so I got some
there it is.
good buddies that are Ohio State fans, and it gets a little tempestuous from time to time. But great guys, and I can't thank you enough for having me up.
No, it was our pleasure, and
thank you for coming.
our friendship will
Visit.
last forever, my friend. It was good times.
Yeah, sure.
Good times.
Looking
And
forward
I got to
the
have you
next
guys
show.
on my show on a Thursday night if I can wrestle you guys all together.
Yeah, Thursday
yeah,
night.
we'll figure out on a Thursday. Not this week because Kyle's got a hockey game to go to.
Yeah, I'll be
So,
Right.
supporting.
But Bob and I, maybe, if you want to, out to two faces on the radio with you, Anyway, buddy.
Anytime, man. Anytime.
Thanks a lot,
I
Kurt.
appreciate
Appreciate it.
Hospitality. The Cuban's a great spot. I always tell folks, you get up in that area, make sure you check that place out. It is a beautiful, beautiful place.
They only
Great
got to
job.
go there once, and I guarantee you they're going to be back. That's just the way it
You're
is.
hooked.
And I don't have to threaten anyone either. They're going to want to go. It's just that great. But anyway, buddy,
The tables were beautiful.
did you
Yeah,
see that?
tables
Yeah,
were
Rolling
just
tables, yeah.
incredible.
they are. They are amazing cigar rolling tables. They did a phenomenal job on them,
Mhm.
all custom made. And I know Luciano and Billy and Lewis and Jamie and Dorothy
Yeah.
and John are just raring to go up there.
Yeah.
So,
You started
I
complimenting
can't
that.
wait.
You started complimenting Curry. If you're watching live on Facebook, you should have seen Luciano's grin, man. It was from ear to ear. He was grinning.
And you know what? You can go back on the podcast and look at his face in the future. Chris Becker, what's happening, man? Ted Seacup, thank you very much for checking in. Kerr, we're gonna let you go because we got
Yes, sir.
Mr. Luciano in the house.
thank
So,
you very much.
Hey, listen,
buddy, go ahead.
enjoy. No, I'm saying I appreciate that. Thanks for having me on. You guys have a wonderful evening.
Thanks, buddy.
Thanks,
We'll
man.
talk to you soon.
All right,
Stay
listen,
safe out there.
and those who are listening for Kerr, hey, hang out, man. We still going here, so don't hang
Luciano,
up.
man,
There.
great information coming up
Yeah,
here.
listen, guys, listen to the show. That it's a great show. I thoroughly enjoyed myself when I was on the show last week. A lot of great material. Not all of it's just cigar related, but it's very pertinent and great conversation.
Matter of fact, if you want to download and listen to those podcasts, you'll be able to get one today, and then the next one will be on Thursday. So, folks, Tuesdays and Thursdays is when our podcasts are going to be downloaded and into the library with the rest of them. So,
And now
if you want to go back and catch
Now we
us.
got to tell him how to get that podcast.
Well, and that's where you come in. But let me let Kerr go because there's no sense of him listening. He knows.
He knows where to get it.
Buddy, you have a great one, great week.
Take care, man.
Enjoy, and
All right, guys.
you and I will talk off base,
Take
man.
care.
Take care. Be good.
So
All right, guys. God bless. Take care.
All right. So, Kyle, this is where you come in. Let's get those people out there and let them know of all the different ways that they can catch up with us.
So, for all you out there on our Listen podcast and listening Facebook, if you want to, you got that Apple iPhone in your hand right now, go to your Apple podcast. You want to smash that subscribe button on the Great Lakes Smoke Show. You're going to get, I think we have about 10 or 11 shows up for download now. Check out our past episodes. We've had great guests on in the past that you can go back and double check on what we've had. And then when we give you those new episodes, you're going to be able to get notifications on when we're got those new shows out there. And then for you Android people, you want to go to the Google podcast. You want to download that, and you can subscribe to us there. And if you have either Spotify and now we are on iHeartRadio, one of the biggest media formats out there. Subscribe to our show. You want to search and look for Great Lakes Smoke Show, and then you want to smash that subscribe button and make sure you're not missing one of our episodes. Do understand you can also go to anchor.fm, Great Lakes Smoke Show. That is anchor.fm is our home base. So every download that you hit on our show is in support of this format that we're using to broadcast out to you guys. So please keep downloading, keep subscribing. That's going to keep our lights turned on here. You know, we're already in a small room, but we don't want to go dark here. So keep subscribing and downloading.
We get pretty dark though at times, you know.
Only in the wintertime.
No, we get very dark. But again, you know, we try to keep it clean and light for everybody. So, yes,
Dark
folks,
side.
you know, obviously, if you can't ever catch us on Facebook while you're driving, you have to keep your eyes on the road. All those podcasts, all those ways of listening to us, turn us on. You know, one big thing is that we always like to ask for is rate and review the shows on Apple Podcasts, folks. Rate and review on Apple Podcasts.
Yeah.
We need it. We want to hear from you. And if you guys also want to ask us any questions, send us any information, good or bad, or whatever you want us to talk about, we have an email address. So here's that paper and pen that I was trying to tell you about in the beginning. So if you want to write it down, we look forward to getting emails from you. The email address is greatlakessmokeshow@aol.com. Again, that's greatlakessmokeshow@aol.com. We have our Facebook page. You can reach us on that also and private messenger us if there was something else you wanted to talk about, or just listen to everything that Kyle mentioned, and we're going to bring that back again. So if you missed anything, you'll be able to hear it again.
Yeah, that Apple rate and review is key there because say our fellow people are listening to Stogie Roads on the podcast. When they're done with it, he usually will tell them a list of shows that are similar interests that you may like.
Mhm.
The more rates and reviews we have, the more our name's going to start popping up and that similar interest. So it just only helps us. So people go to us, they start clicking. It's like you go down a rabbit hole because then you just start going and going. And then, before you know it, you have, about
China.
10 different podcasts that you're subscribed to for cigar talk. And we're all having really good information. I don't put anybody else's cigar podcast down because we're all the same family. We're all trying to make sure we're doing our part to get the information out here. So the more of us that are out there, the better it is for our industry.
Absolutely. And if you are interested, we are looking for sponsors and advertisers. So if you have any interest in advertising on our show, please get hold of us on the Great Lakes Smoke Show at AOL.com or Facebook PM us. We could talk some numbers, and that will help us, again, continue to keep on. And we like to do some giveaways and try to put products together for you guys just to build up a whole nother thing. And hey, we can actually come maybe to one of your places if we can build up enough funds. We can come visit and have a live remote at your location. And with that, a bumper tweet. So Chris Nichols came in. Hello, Chris. Arlington Heights Pipes and Cigar Shop is checking us out. Jim Urett is on. Brother Dave, our brother Mason from Grays Lake. How you doing, man?
What's up, Dave?
Thanks for checking in, everybody.
So,
And it is time that we go to our special guest, folks. And we are.
Man.
It's
we are
about
so,
time.
Oh,
well,
man.
you know,
He's
I'm
falling
nervous
asleep
here.
over
I'm
here.
nervous here.
nervous. 20 minutes
I'm not
to
used
twist
to,
his arm.
Being a radio show.
We made you comfortable and at ease. We're trying to, slowly bring you in, and you can see the nonsense that, what we do here. So it makes you fit right in with the rest
The
of us.
bourbon's
Don't worry
helping.
about it.
Yeah, there you
Bourbon
go. See?
always
The
helps.
bourbon's
Bourbon, yeah, and
yeah.
we'll have a little more after you finish. We'll have some cold stuff. But yes, folks, this is Luciano Mireles Azevedo, and he has quite a bit to talk about this evening, and we're excited and honored to have him here. And we can't thank you enough. Thank you. Thank you.
It's my pleasure to be here. You guys do such a wonderful job here, man. It's great. I've been really listening to the show for a long time, and you guys are really, really. Every time I listen to the show, there's something new. There's some useful information. It's a lot of things about cigars that people need to listen, need to learn. So you guys are definitely doing not just a wonderful job for the cigar smokers, but for society in general. I think everybody's learning so much from the shows, And my daughters are listening too. So.
Oh, hey.
Okay. So
I gotta
guys,
behave.
keep it clean.
Keep it clean.
I'm glad you said that.
We should have
You know?
started with that disclaimer before we started going.
We didn't expect minors, but it's okay.
They're good grown-ups.
They're grown-ups. They can handle it.
Yeah, 18 over. So.
Oh, okay.
All right, but we'll still
I know
keep it
the
clean.
Still keep it clean, out of respect.
We do get a little bit off key once in a while because Kyle gets us there.
Kyle always. He always goes to the dark side all the time.
You got to make it fun. This isn't a good show unless we make it fun.
You're right.
It's true. It's true.
Absolutely.
But thanks for listening in. That means a lot. And
Yeah.
coming for you, you are such a busy man, and you're I guess, world-renowned traveler. I mean, you truly get all over the place. I don't know how long ago, but you were with the Pope recently and in
No
Rome.
kidding.
And
What kind of cigars does a Pope smoke?
he smokes his cigar now.
Well, I gave my cigar to him. I don't know if he smoked or not, but he got one of our cigars for sure.
Okay.
Cool.
That is
Nice.
great. That is great. So let me ask you, how did you get involved with cigars? You're such a young man.
Thank you very much. Well, it's a long story, but I can make it really short.
No, we got it
you got
up till
time.
8
Yeah, we
o'clock.
got time.
We're going to go to 8, and then we're going to
Good.
take a break, and then we're going
Okay.
to start the second half of our podcast. So, people can only go an hour at a time. So we'll take a 5 minutes. So you can take 20 minutes to talk about it.
That's fine. Well, I started actually. It's a very interesting story. I went down to the Dominican Republic. This was back in 2010, and I at that time, which I had a business, which I still have, which is a political consultancy business. So I help great corporations to fight taxes in other countries, expand their branches into different markets. And one of my missions at the Dominican Republic back in 2010 was to fight for better taxes in South America and Central America. Basically, I was
Wow.
just trying to help the cigar industry. And I was, of course, a cigar smoker, but I never thought I was going to get into the business until 2012, kind of middle of 2012. So I knew everybody. So Ernesto Carrillo, the great Ernesto, who just won the Cigar of the Year last year with the Majestic Encore. He was kind of my mentor. He encouraged me to start blending cigars, and he actually blended my first cigar, which is
Okay.
Virtus. It's still sold in some shops, and we of course have it at Cuban Experience. That cigar was probably what got me into the business. Something that I started as a nonprofit. Believe it or not, it was not. We didn't have an intention to really make profit out of that cigar. But that cigar gave me the opportunity to meet wonderful people along the way. And one of probably the most important was Pichardo. So Gerardo Pichardo is a great master blender. He's a legend of the tobacco industry. And that man, we saw in each other a lot of potential to grow together. And here we are. So I mean, it's a long story, but I think we have a lot to talk about tonight. But if someone asks me how do you get to the cigar industry, I'll say it was a blessing. I think God really put it my way, basically. And today, that's all I do. I mean, this is what I do for a living. I do have some other business. I travel a lot, just like I said. I do a lot of charitable work. That's kind of if I don't do that, my life doesn't have any meaning, to be honest. So that's kind of what I'm called to do. And every single business that I get involved with, it has some sort of purpose that's beyond just profit. So actually, it always starts with something else, and profit is just a consequence, which basically helps some other people as well.
Well, I hear a lot of other cigar owners and reps say that if you get into the cigar industry just to make money, you're not going to succeed.
It's
The
interesting
people
you say that.
people are going to spot that on you, and you don't really get the respect of those who really care and have a passion like you do for the industry. And what you mentioned, there's so many nice people, and that's all we've been hearing in this industry. It just seems like mostly, again, you always have your black sheep in each family, but for the most part, we hear that the industry, everybody is so supportive. Nobody wants to take down another cigar industry or another lounge. It's a small community that everybody tries to support each other, because if we don't, then we don't have a passion and love to go to, and the government will shut us down.
Yeah, and it's interesting you saying that, because I don't know if you remember Arsenio Ramos, God bless him, our late Arsenio Ramos. He just passed a few months ago, unfortunately. It was a big loss for the entire industry, for the entire tobacco world. That man taught me one thing. There's two types of tobacconists, and just like you said, the majority, and it's the best ones. They are the ones who basically are just here for the profit, and believe it or not, they don't succeed. Most of the people who are just looking for a profit in the cigar industry, they don't succeed. There is some passion that is required for you to succeed, because succeeding in the cigar industry is not just about the money. It's about really touching people's lives. When someone smokes a cigar and he has a true experience, how do you smoke cigars? You always smoke cigars with friends. You always smoke cigars to celebrate something. Or if you want to smoke your cigar by yourself, it's because you're having probably deep thoughts, deep conversations with yourself. So I think it's a sacred moment when you smoke a cigar. And if you really try to deviate from what that passion is, what the sacredness is, usually things doesn't go well. So
unless you smoke a cigar, people will not understand what you just said.
That's true.
And
That's
and
true.
unfortunately, that's just it. It is true. It's a passion. It's a relaxation. It's a
Yes.
peace of mind. And when you're in company, it makes that moment that much better.
Mhm.
For us
Oh, yeah.
Italians, it's just like a meal.
Yes, for the Italians, it's like a meal:
No, I
spaghetti
mean,
and meatballs, and the 7
it's not-
courses along the
Exactly.
way.
And it's not just about the meal. It's about the experience. It's about the conversation. It's about the
Yes, yes.
camaraderie. It's about, I mean, we don't have meals by ourselves. We need to be with our families. We need to
Mhm.
be with our friends. And cigars are exactly the same thing. So you can't experience a cigar unless you have that kind of spirit.
And it can
Yes.
give you
True.
a good
Very true.
hour to 2 hours of that moment.
Yep.
Yeah,
And
even if you're smoking by yourself, it's almost like you're meditating. you
Yeah.
know?
That's true. You know, that's
Did-
when I have my deeper thoughts are when
Yeah.
I'm smoking.
No,
it's
that's a
true.
fact.
Didn't they
Yeah.
say there was something that you mentioned about the relaxation part, where it's proven and researched that if you smoke a cigar, you become more relaxed
Absolutely.
and you can take in more thoughts and clear your head, believe it or not.
Pipe and cigar
Well, yeah.
smoking has just a tendency to put one in a very like a special zone, like
In a happy place.
Yeah.
yeah,
Just like
does.
Gary Levine would tell me.
Exactly.
Cigars put you in a happy place.
yeah, no, it's true.
Especially if you smoke a cigar with a lot of ligero, a lot of strength.
There you go.
Then you get the buzz.
Didn't our brother Phil McCracken, didn't he say his doctor prescribed him to smoke a cigar to chill out
Yeah,
because he was
Yes,
overstressing himself?
George
Yeah.
said that. That's what his doctor said. Smoke a cigar and it'll
Exactly.
relieve his stress. And he's
Yeah.
been doing it ever since.
and
Now we
on
got him to the
pipes.
pipes.
Just like
Yeah.
people like to say, you can die of anything. You can. If I drink 10 gallons of water, I'm going to start losing a lot of minerals, and I'll eventually, my heart would stop.
Mhm.
So if you eat too much sugar, it will be the same thing. You're
Yeah.
going to die.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
everything that's done with moderation, everything that's done responsibly, it's always an experience, a good experience.
Yes.
So,
And what Ryan James would say is a cigar doesn't talk back to you.
yeah.
You can
right.
definitely be in a very relaxed state of mind and not have that wah, 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 wah in your ear, unless you want it.
that's
You
right.
can run away from the world with a good cigar. So let's talk about your cigar cigars, I guess I should say. Or let's tell a little bit about what's going on, because you have been heavily endorsed. You had a tremendous write-up, and you got a lot going on. And I don't want to spoil it for everybody or spoil it for you and say too much, but you have been heavily endorsed. J.C. Newman gave you an endorsement. EPC Cigars gave you endorsement. Crown Heads. Tell us a little bit about all those endorsements and how you feel, and tell us about your cigar lines and names, and let's go from
Absolutely.
there.
Well, those endorsements, we were really surprised by the industry, the way the industry has opened their arms to us. So a little bit of a story. We have a manufacturing in Nicaragua for quite a long time. I mean, it's not 50 years, it's not 20 years, but we've been in the industry for more than 10 years manufacturing cigars, mostly for other brands. So we've been working under NDAs for a long time. And some of our clients disclosed that we are making cigars for them, some not, and which is fine. We really wanted to get strong